Good afternoon. My name is Ansley Stewart. I'm one of the clinical librarians here at Cornhusker Health Sciences Library on the ULF Health Science campus. And today we're going to be talking about how to get started with EndNote. So since it's noon, we're going to go ahead and get started. Just to let you know off the top, these sessions are recorded, but I don't send them out to people unless they ask for them. So if you'd like a recording of the session, please let me know via email and I will get that to you. But starting off, we'll go over EndNote in kind of three parts, how to download references into your EndNote library, how to use EndNote the EndNote program to the best of your advantage, and then how to use EndNote within a Word document so it helps write up the bibliography and insert the in-text citations for you. But before we do that, I like to show people, in case they're completely brand new to EndNote or they need a refresher, how to get EndNote downloaded for themselves. So this is why I start off on the Cornhusker Health Sciences Library homepage here. If you click on Help and Services and you click down to EndNote Training here, I'll be coming back to this page a number of times during our training. And so this is probably where you signed up for this session, but over on the left-hand side, you can see Download EndNote Desktop. And then you'll want to click on U of L's web store to get access to downloading the EndNote Desktop. Here's a little 2 to 3 minute video if you'd like to be walked through how to do that. It's free to you as a U of L member, of course, but it is basically just you doing kind of an online shopping of sorts. It asks you to put it in the cart and check out with it, and then asks you whether you're using a Mac or Windows operating system, because it does differ a little bit slightly between the how EndNote looks between the operating systems, and I'll point that out as we go along. So I'll show you what my EndNote library looks like currently. So when I say EndNote library, or when I say library moving forward, I don't really mean the university's library. I mean, this is what EndNote considers a library. It is a single entity for all of your references that you're going to be putting into it. And it used to be that back in the day, EndNote had usually people had multiple so-called EndNote libraries, because that was an easier way to share with other colleagues or other students if you're working on a same project together. But today, most people just work out of a singular library, and because they're able to share groups with people. So some of the weird terminology with EndNote is EndNote library is the file of EndNote references that you're going to accumulate. Groups are the folders within the EndNote library, so how you stay organized. And yeah, I'm not sure why EndNote has its own kind of terminology as such, but I'll reference it as we go along. So as I said, starting off with the first part of our training, we'll want to learn how to get the references into EndNote. There is a way to search within the EndNote library itself, the EndNote desktop library itself. And you can see over here, if I click on PubMed down at the bottom under online search, it'll come up with search bars, and you can search by, author, title, year, what have you. The issue with this is you pretty much already have to know the citation of the reference that you want. So you pretty much already have to know all the information for the article that you're looking for to make sure that it pulls up correctly. Trying to use this as a subject search where you're just trying to find any article on your topic, it's really not going to be cohesive to what you're trying to do with that, because it's a very clunky method of searching. So I really only recommend using this form of searching within EndNote library if you already know exactly the citation for the reference that you need. But barring that, anytime subject searching, I really recommend you use the databases through the university's libraries here, or if you have an outside database somewhere else. But I'll show you how to pull references from PubMed and EBSCOhost databases and Google Scholar, because those are the primary ones I see people using. So with PubMed, let's just say we're doing a paper on, I don't know, lung cancer. So we'll search for lung cancer. as our subject. And you can see over here, obviously it comes up with a number of different articles. So we'll click on the first one here. And it's pretty simple to, let's say this is an article that we want to add to our EndNote library. You just click on Send to Citation Manager because EndNote is a citation management program. And you click Create File. And then it downloads to your internet browser, wherever that may be, depending on what browser you're using. You will open that when it's done downloading, and then it will import itself into your EndNote library here. Um, I realize I should open a new one. Sorry, I'm doing this a little backwards. We're going to open up a new EndNote library so we can work out of that, and you won't have to see my dozens of way too many references. So again, if you're completely brand new to EndNote, you'll have to be starting with a new library anyway. And this is where I get on my soapbox and let you know that it is very important that you save your EndNote libraries to your actual computer's hard drive. Because if you try and save it to a cloud system, you're going to lose information. You're going to eventually the files will become corrupted and disconnect from whatever Word document you're working with. So it's very important that you save your EndNote library to somewhere on your computer's actual hard drive. So I just saved mine in my documents folder on my computer's hard drive, and we'll title this one April EndNote Library, and we'll click Save. There we go. Opens a brand new library for us. So we'll work out of a fresh one together. But yeah, I'll probably repeat that a couple more times. Do make sure you're saving any new EndNote libraries, aka files. Make sure you're saving it to your computer's actual hard drive. EndNote does have its own cloud system, EndNote Online, and I'll show you how to sync your EndNote library with that, so that way you don't lose information. But it's very important that you don't use other cloud systems with EndNote because you're gonna lose your references within the library. They will become corrupted, and you won't be able to use them and sync them elsewhere. So going back to PubMed, again, I want to save this reference. We'll do send to citation manager, create file. It downloads the browser. We open it, and it imports to your EndNote library right here. If you're brand new to EndNote, or at least your computer is brand new to EndNote, it'll come up with the window saying where do you want to open this type of file, because at least from PubMed, the reference file is an nbib.nbib file. And obviously you'll just select open it with EndNote, and then it'll know to do so automatically moving forward. But that should just be a first time issue. Going back to our search results in PubMed, you can download multiple references and import them to your EndNote library. So you do the same thing. You just check the ones you would like to add, click Send to Citation Manager, create file. It still creates a singular file. And when that's downloading to your browser, you'll click it open. And it'll open up all 5 references now. So there we go. So that's how to download references from PubMed. Moving on, let's download some from EBSCOhost. So I'm just going to use APA Psych Info here, which is the name of the database. But when I say EBSCOhost is the producer of a number of various different databases, APA Psych Info being one of them. It doesn't really matter which EBSCOhost database you're using. They all pretty much have a similar layout to them. And so that's why I'm showing you this one. So if we do if I'll spell that correctly, if we do our lung cancer search again, And here we go. So we'll click on how to download references from an EBSCO host database. Is you'll click on the one you want to add. You'll click on the little quotation mark icon, and when you hover over it, it says cite. And then you'll click over on export citation, and you'll select export in our RIS format. And it even says right here, EndNote. Now there is a link that says export to EndNote web, and that is slightly different. That's only if you're using the online version of EndNote, which is free and available to everyone. And as I said, it acts as a cloud system where you can back everything up. But it has a lot less bells and whistles to it. And download to our desktop library, our EndNote desktop library, you'll want to click on export in RIS format. And then it does the exact same thing it was doing with PubMed earlier, downloads the reference file to your web browser. You click it open when it's done downloading, and then it will import itself into your EndNote desktop library. So as you can see, we went from about 5 references here to 1. Some people get a little worried about that. You're always going to be shown the most recently imported references in EndNote when that happens, but don't worry, all references are still there. They're just under your all references here on the left-hand side in your EndNote library. So nothing's deleted without you saying so in your EndNote library. And even when you delete things, it'll go to trash and sit there until you clear your trash. So in that regard, EndNote's pretty safe about not deleting anything, assuming again you're saving your EndNote library file to your actual hard drive. External hard drives also work. Thumb drives, external hard drives, those are also safe to save things in EndNote, just not external cloud systems. So no card box, no Dropbox, no box, however many boxes there are, no Apple Cloud, none of that. Same goes for drives in terms of like university or hospital drives that you might be working out of. Don't save them there either. That is also gonna corrupt your references, the same as an external cloud system would. But again, if you're looking to download from an EBSCO host database or one that just kind of has this layout, you'll want to click on Cite. You'll want to do Export Citation, and you'll want to click Export in RIS format. And click on the download a file from there to import into EndNote. Okay, moving on to Google Scholar. It's slightly different because Google Scholar, you have to go into the settings. So if I type in our lung cancer search here, you can see there's already a button for import into EndNote, and that's because I've already adjusted my settings. But if you're new to using EndNote with Google Scholar, what you'll want to do is go over to the settings, 3-line drop down here, click on settings, and go down to Bibliography Manager, and select the very last show links to import citations into, and make sure you have EndNote selected. So make sure this is selected, make sure EndNote is selected, and you'll click Save in Google Scholar settings. And then you'll have the nice little import into EndNote button that comes up for each search result, each individual search result. If I didn't do that settings, there would just be nothing here. You wouldn't see a button for anything or a link for anything. So we'll just click on import into EndNote, and it does the exact same thing as it did with the other 2 databases, which is download it to the browser. We open it when it's downloaded, and then it will import into our EndNote library. And again, as I said, it's going to show you the most recently imported reference, and then we can just click on all references to see all references in our EndNote library. So that's really handy that a lot of the databases offer that, and a number of the journals websites, individual journals websites offer the reference downloads. You can just download the different references depending on what you need. Unfortunately, obviously not every single reference that you want is going to come in a downloadable format. Or so you can always create your own reference in EndNote, and you can do so by clicking on the clipboard icon up here. When you hover over it, it says add a new reference. And I'll come up with this window here. And you can see just blank. It might be a little hard to see because of the dark mode I have for my computer. Um, but if you click on reference type, you can select which reference you would obviously like to add to your EndNote library. So, and they have a whole bunch of selections, books, conference proceedings, encyclopedias, government documents, interviews, um, podcasts, thesis, web page, if you are looking to add a website as a reference. So you'll want to select which reference type you're going to create a reference for. I'm just going to do book as our example, and it'll change what you need to fill out based on which reference type you put in. And so let's just say I wrote a book in 2018. And it's important to fill out as much information as you possibly can for the reference that you are creating, because it's going to obviously which citation style you use for your paper later on. It's going to vary on what reference information it needs, right? So some of them require, date of accession. If you're looking at a website or something else, some of them require DOIs, the digital object identifier for a paper. Um, some of them require links. So do try and fill out as much information as you can. And then, and it will take as little information as you give it. And when you're done, you'll click save for the reference that you have created and exit out of the window. And there's my fake book that I wrote on lung cancer. And you can see this is what it would look like if it were in APA style, or if I changed it over to uh, the American Medical Association style, that's what it'll look like there. So you can see if you put in enough pertinent information as well, it makes it kind of handy. And you can go back and edit at any time. Over here on the left-hand side, it says edit. So if you do make a mistake, you can go back and edit, it's fine. And then you can just click save from there. So that is how you get references into your EndNote library. You can do it externally with the databases or individual journal pages. You can download the reference information, or you can create your own, as I said, with the little clipboard icon here, depending on what you need. I am gonna, right now, we just have the reference information, the citation information for these references. So as you can see, here's the paper, the abstract of it all, but we don't actually have the full text attached to these yet. That is a separate step. So moving into how to best use, we're done with the part one of our training, how to get references into EndNote. Now we're going to go on to how to best use EndNote to get what you would like to organize your information, your reference information. And one of the nice things about EndNote is it has a find full text tool. Um, and I want you to get the most out of that. So I'm going to go back to our download EndNote desktop page, or sorry, our kind of our EndNote web page that we've created as the university libraries. So as I was saying at the beginning, this is probably where a lot of you signed up for this session. You can download EndNote desktop if you need that, and we're going to click on the find full text over here so I can show you that before we use the find full text tool in EndNote, I want to help you set up settings in your EndNote library so that way you are able to pull as many of the full text of the references as you possibly can. Because it's not a foolproof tool, it's not going to find everything for you, but I want you to have access to as much as you can through our university proxies, so that way you're having to not hand add as many full text as you possibly could if you weren't doing this in the settings first. So thank you to Ellie who just posted uh, in our Zoom chat here. These are the links that we're seeing right here in our find full text, and I'll show you how to access that. Um, so kind of toggling back over to our EndNote library here, you'll want to go, if you're using a Windows operating system like I am, you'll want to go to Edit Preferences. If you're using a Mac operating system, instead of File, there'll be an EndNote drop down here. You'll want to click on EndNote Settings. They're the exact same thing, Settings/Preferences. I don't know why they're labeled differently for the different operating systems within EndNote, but you will pull up the same thing here when you do so. So again, if you're using Windows operating system, click on Edit Preferences. If you're using a Mac operating system, click on EndNote Settings. And then you'll want to click on Find Full Text here, and you'll want to put in the URL period on period worldcat period org link here in the open URL path. And then for the second text box here, the one that just says URL, you'll want to put an echo period Louisville period edu one. And these are important because they prove that you have access to the university's resources as a university member. Um, so when you put these into your find full text in your settings, it means that this one means that you have, it's going to search through WorldCat. It stands for World Catalog. It's a very large catalog that we as libraries use, and so it searches through a whole bunch of different references worldwide. And then this one is your obviously your Ulink login, but it's the proxy for proving that you are a university member and that you have access to these references. So um, these are because, number one, you have to prove that you are a university member to use the resources that the university pays for. And then number two, you'll use the library's resources that the libraries, subscribes to, like the different databases and the different journals and whatnot. So kind of need both of those. And then when you finish putting those in, you'll hit apply and OK. And so that way your settings are preset to best find you as many full text as EndNote can. So now to actually use the find full text feature, you'll want to select the references that you want to find full text for. You'll highlight those. So I just use Control A on my keyboard to highlight all the ones that we've added to our EndNote library thus far. And you'll right click and you'll select find full text. And then this window will pop up, your, authenticator window, and you'll hit continue. Because again, you put in the university proxy website, so it's verifying that you are a university member, and now it's searching within those catalogs. And so when you do the find full text, it'll pop up on the left-hand side here, and it'll say searching for however many are left, and then it'll keep a count of how many it's found and how many it has not found in terms of full text. So typically PDFs, but sometimes I find full text via URL as well. And so it'll give you the best that it can in terms of whether it find how to find full text for your references. And I would say usually it takes about 10 seconds per reference that you ask it to find. So if you're asking it to find a whole slew of references for you at once, that would be a good time to just let EndNote run and do its thing and take a break from your computer. Give her however much time it needs. But as you can see, it found 2 full text via PDF. It found 6 full text via URL, and it did not find 1. Obviously, 1 being the book that I made up, and it does not exist anywhere. So of course, it's not going to find a full text for that. When you do have a PDF attachment, EndNote has a little paperclip icon here, so you can see it. And then you can access the PDF over on the right-hand side here, and you'll see, as I was showing you earlier, here's our summary of the citation information. You can edit that at any time. And then there's also the PDF here once you start adding PDFs. So it's really handy because, all of your research, all of your references are all in one place, and that's a nice feeling instead of having to toggle back between, wherever you kept your references and the full text and all that. One of the other really nice tools for EndNote is you can take notes in your PDF here, just, all in the same window. You can do that by clicking on the little square kind of chat box icon that says markup/annotation. When you click on that, you have the option to add sticky notes, highlight text, underline text, and strike through text. And when you make those notes to your PDF, it'll save it. So when you come back, so if I click on highlight, and I'll just highlight the first sentence here. So it makes a nice little highlight in our PDF. And I can click save. So it saves those notes for me. And if I click on a different reference and I come back to the one I was looking at, it's still there. So all your notes are saved when you do that. So again, it makes it handy. All your research is kind of in one place. You can look at it all at once. For the other references that, don't have the PDFs attached, you can just hand add them. As I said, unfortunately, EndNote, the find full text feature is not a foolproof tool. So you'll just want to go and probably find the PDF yourself and just attach it as if you were, an email or what have you. And then you can also organize your information by creating groups here. So if I do right click, create group, I can do one that's based on my lung cancer project. And then I can just select the references I want to add there, drag and drop, or do the whole of them, drag and drop over there. And so that way it's nice, neatly organized. This is also important because if you're working on a paper with multiple people and you're all using EndNote together, you can just share a group instead of having to share your entire EndNote library, which used to be an old way of using EndNote. Because I said at the beginning, some people had multiple EndNote libraries. That's really not as needed anymore because you, you know, you people would have different EndNote libraries depending on different projects that they were working on. Because they used to have to share their entire EndNote library if they wanted to work with anyone together on it. But now you can just you can right click and do share group. Oh, it has to be highlighted. um, yeah, highlight the group you wish to share with others, and you'll click share group. And this is, obviously created for people who are working on the same paper together, so that we can see you're all working out of the same group together and you all have the same references, and it just makes group projects a lot easier. You can still share your entire EndNote library if you wish to. I believe it's under, yeah, under File, Share. I'm sure it's under EndNote Share on Mac operating systems, and you would just share your entire thing with people. But before I show you a little more on how to do that, we are going to look at um, how to back up our EndNote. Because I was mentioning earlier, there is EndNote Online, which is basically EndNote's cloud system, sometimes called EndNote Web. But I want you all to do that. So there's kind of two pieces of homework that I want you all to take away today. Is doing the settings for the find full text feature, adding in those two URLs and your EndNote settings, so you have that ready to go. And then I also, if you have not done so, create a EndNote Online account as well, and get that synced. And thankfully, Ellie is also posted the URL for that. So you'll want to go to myendnoteweb.com, and if you're brand new, you'll click register. If you haven't created one before, you'll put in your email and your password and your name and all that. It does not have to be your university or hospital email if you don't want it to be. It can be your personal email if you wish. It really just comes into play when, if you ever end up calling the EndNote tech support, they'll ask for what your email is, obviously, and obviously it'll be your login, your username login, moving forward. So when you fill that out, you'll click register, you'll get the whole registration email sent to you, you'll click on the registration email, and then you'll come back here and fill it out and click sign in. And if you are brand new to EndNote Online, it'll show you a blank page, but mine is synced with my past main library. So you can see it's already synced with all the references that I have in my main library and the groups I've created over the years. Um, if you're working with someone on a paper and they don't have access to EndNote Desktop, because it is a paid version, and the university pays for it, and that's why you have access to it as a university member. EndNote Online is free and available to anyone, so you can still share your EndNote uh, references with other people. They just already have to have an EndNote Online account created on their end. Um, so they EndNote Online used to be kind of an optional thing, and now it's pretty much mandatory, but it's how you back up your references. So in case of loss, it is how you can sync your references and back them up. It is how you are able to share references with other people. Um, and if you know, stop working or stop being a student here at U of L and go on to work elsewhere, you can use whatever's the most recent software of EndNote on your computer that you downloaded before you left. But EndNote Online is still accessible to you to help write up your papers and to share with other people your EndNote references as well. So, um, yes. So now that we've created our EndNote Online account, as I said, I kind of want this to be a piece of homework for you. We're going to go to our back to our settings. So again, Windows for Windows operating system, it is Edit Preferences. For Mac operating system, it is EndNote Settings. Same window pops up, same layout for this, and you'll go down to Sync, the fourth one from the bottom, and you'll put in the same login information as you did for EndNote Online, and you'll hit Apply, and you'll hit OK. And when you do that, uh, it won't sync automatically. You'll have to, for the first time, you'll have to push that, but you'll go to sync status right above all references here, and you'll click sync now. It'll ask you if you want to do a backup of your references. Uh, you know, do so if you wish or don't. That's kind of up to you for the first time out. Um, and then you'll want to click sync now, and then it'll start syncing uh, regularly. Like I think it's every 10 or 30 seconds or something. It'll be syncing regularly after that. But you do have to push it through the first time. Um, and then when you do sync it the first time, you can come back to your EndNote Online and you can see, you can verify that it's synced and make sure that the references that you've already have in your EndNote library are backed up here. Okay, so I'm trying to double check my list here, see if there's anything that we have missed. We've gone over how to add references and create our own references. We've gone over how to do find full text um, and EndNote Online so that we have that backup and we're able to share with other people. Going back to what I was saying about, speaking of going back to what I was saying about sharing with other people, if you click on or you highlight the group that you wish to share with other people, uh, you can do, as I was saying, share group, and then you will select which group you'll let me do one that I don't I'm not currently sharing with other people. Um, right click share group. So this way you will put in the email addresses of the other people you do wish to share the group with. So they do have to be the email addresses of their EndNote Online accounts. So if you wish to share with someone and have them open it, they already have to have the EndNote Online account created on their end so that they are able to see it. Um, and you can offer them read and write permission, which means they have editing rights, or read-only permission, which means, just view only. And so I kind of caution people on editing read and write permission because if they do any edits to your references, you're not going to get a notification about it. You're not going to get an email or a pop-up that says, Ansley S. may change the date on XY reference. Um, there will be a history of edits that have been made, and I unfortunately can't show you right now because I'm not sharing this with anyone. Um, So there will be an edit history of edits that have been made to references, but just, something to keep in mind when sharing with other people, and you can change their permission at any time if you're the person who originally shared the group. So you'll put in the email addresses, you'll select which permission to give the people that you're sharing with, and you can add a little message if you want because this is what they're going to see when their email comes up, and you'll click invite, and they have to accept it, I believe, on their end. And then you all can start working out of the same EndNote library or the same EndNote group together. Um, and so with that, let's learn how to use EndNote when writing our paper. Um, sorry, one quick side road I want to go down because I failed to mention it earlier. Um, so I mentioned earlier about how I keep my EndNote library and my documents folders because we always, again, save our EndNote libraries to somewhere on our desktop or on our hard drive. You can save it on your desktop if you wish, but but save it to your computer's hard drive. Um, so when you create an EndNote library, it creates an accompanying data folder. And so let me go ahead and show you right now. So this is the EndNote library that we created today, about 30 so minutes ago. When I created this, it also created an April EndNote library data folder. And it's very important that you keep these two together. If you ever decide to move, you move computers or you move them to somewhere else on your hard drive or what have you, make sure you're keeping these two together. Because once you start adding PDFs, this is where your PDFs are going to live. So this EndNote library file right here, that's just our reference information. That's all of our citation information for our references here. And the metadata with that. Your data folder is where your PDFs live. So again, if you move them anywhere on your computer, make sure you're moving both of these together and they have to live together. As I was saying, you can back up EndNote library, and I encourage you to make a copy or back it up somewhere to an external hard drive or thumb drive or what have you as a safety precaution in addition to syncing it with EndNote Online. You can, and I say this with caution, you can upload your EndNote library along with your data folder to a cloud system for a temporary amount of time, for like maybe up to a week or something. But after a while, it will, as I said, become corrupted. It's going to disconnect from if you're working on it with a paper when you do that. So again, make sure you are keeping those two together and don't let it live in an external cloud system because that is going to create a headache for you. Well, more than a headache, really, because if it becomes corrupted, there's nothing myself or the people who work for EndNote can do to fix that if you leave it living in a cloud system, in an external cloud system. So, I feel like I've preached on that enough. We're going to move on to how to use EndNote within a Word document, which is kind of the whole reason why we're here, right? So, when you download EndNote to your computer for the first time, or if it's a brand new computer or what have you, it's going to ask you to exit out of all Microsoft programs to shut those down when EndNote is downloading, because EndNote will insert itself with the Cite While You Write tool when it is downloading EndNote. So Cite While You Write is what EndNote calls their tab within Microsoft Word. EndNote is compatible with other word processors as well. I'm trying to think. Apple Pages, Apache OpenOffice. There might be a couple others, but I've never really heard of anyone that didn't use EndNote uh, without outside of Microsoft, or it is now finally available for Google Docs as well. And thank you again to Ellie who posted the link there. I'm not going to show you how to use EndNote in Google Docs. It's pretty self-explanatory, and if you click on the link, it shows you how to do so. It has less bells and whistles than if you're using Microsoft Word though, or another, um, you know, word processor app that's actually on your computer rather than cloud-based or online. Um, and so I love that people know that. Again, if you're using even within Word documents, if you're putting, you know, a paper that you have worked on with EndNote in a Word document, I mean, sorry, if you're a paper that you've worked with EndNote, the Word document that you worked with EndNote, if you put that in an external cloud system, like Cardbox or what have you, it's going to disconnect from your EndNote library. So again, EndNote is not compatible with external cloud systems. Pretty much it is pretty much just compatible with own cloud system, EndNote Online. You can use it with Google Drive, or I'm sorry, excuse me, just Google Docs. That's really the only uh, cloud-based one that is compatible with. So don't start writing a paper in Microsoft Word and then put it in Cardbox and then wonder why it's not working with EndNote. It's because it got disconnected. Um, because again, external cloud system. Okay, so how to actually use this. the Let's write our paper on lung cancer now. So we've written our first sentence. It's great, it's fantastic, but it needs a citation, right? There are two ways to do this. You can go to You want to click on the Insert Citation dropdown, and you can click Insert Citation, in which it will pull up a window where it'll search through your entire EndNote library here. So as you can see, you can search via whatever terms you wish. You can search by author's name, you can search by year. It's basically acting as control find within your EndNote library. So if you put in, cancer, it's just going to say, oh, I found these, you know, this cancer, again, acting as control find. Um, so you can search, and something important to note is this is currently searching my EndNote libraries. If you're working out of a shared group, make sure you select shared group. So if someone shared a group with you, an EndNote group with you, and you're wondering why you can't find the references there, it's because you do need to select shared group. But assuming you're working out of your own EndNote library, you'll select libraries here, and then ask it to find anything to do with lung cancer. It might take a minute or two. Again, I have, you saw a few dozen thousand references, so it's going to take a little longer to search. And you can just scroll through, see which one you want. So let's say we're doing this one, and we'll click Insert here. And when it opens up, it might take a minute. And there we go. So there's our citation, our in-text citation, and then it'll always put the full citation down at the bottom as your bibliography in whatever format whatever citation format you selected. Um, I realized something that I forgot to tell you earlier. Going back to our uh, EndNote library here. Um, Before you start writing your paper, I really suggest that you deduplicate your references. So if you've been searching across multiple databases and pulling references and putting them in your EndNote library, there's a chance that, more than one reference is the same that another database gave you in the search results page, right? Um, so EndNote has thought about that. And it has a find duplicates tool. So under library, find duplicates. And it'll come up and say, hey, these two articles seem to be the same. Do you want to keep one and delete the other, or what have you? So you can select which reference you want to keep. This is important because of, best practice. Keeping your information organized is very important. And then also equally important because when you start writing your paper, if you put in one reference into the paper and then edit the duplicate of the other in your EndNote library and wonder why it's not updating your paper in your Word document, that's not EndNote's fault. You're telling it to, you put in one reference that isn't the same as the one that you edited because of duplication, right? So that's human error, that's not computer error. So again, best practice, make sure you deduplicate before you start writing. And if I say keep this reference, then it'll send the other reference to the trash here. So it's not fully deleted, but it also won't be an option for you to select, um, and therefore cause confusion in your Word document. So things to keep in mind. Does your sorry, look at the contacts, the chat here. Does your EndNote profile email have to match your Microsoft Word profile email? No, not as far as I'm aware. I think they can be different. Um, but to be honest, that's the first time I've gotten that question. I will look into that and double check for you. But I believe they can be separate. And so once we do duplicated, then we should start writing our paper. So going back, so we can say, hey, we did our first in-text citation. As I was saying, there's another way to insert citations, and that is you will first select the reference that you want to use in your paper from your EndNote library. So let's say, uh, let's say we want this one. Doesn't really matter which one for this example. But let's say this is a reference we wish to insert to our paper. Then you will come back to your paper and write our next perfect sentence that obviously needs a citation. You will do so by clicking on the Insert Citation dropdown and select Insert Selected Citation. So this is the method that I tend to use personally more because I am terrible about remembering authors' names. But whichever way to insert citations is easier for you, go for that. So you can do insert citation via the little window that comes up and you search for the article in that window, or you can select the citation you want previously in your EndNote library, and then you'll come back to your Word document and choose Insert Selected Citation. You also have the option of adding in multiple citations. You can do so, and that's just a matter of holding down the Control button and selecting which ones you want. Um, so if I choose to insert citation, and let's say we want this one and this one. So I just held down the Control button on my keyboard. You click insert. So that way you can highlight multiple ones at once, and there we go. The other important thing to note that is, and one of the really one of the best selling points about EndNote is that at any time you can change the citation style with a click of a button. So currently we're working in the American Medical Association style. So we've got the ones as our in-text citation, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have our little bibliography here, and it's written. The bibliography is set up in the AMA, American Medical Association citation style guidelines. So where it appears in the paper, uh, is the order that it goes in. If we go over to APA, the American Medical Association, sorry, American Psychological Association style, it has a different citation style to it, right? So you do the author and the year number of the publication, and then it goes in the author's last name alphabetical in the bibliography. So as you can see, I just clicked it over and it changed the whole citation style. And so that's really one of the best selling points about EndNote. Is you can select reference, it'll put in the citation style that you want. It has a number of preset citation styles here from the drop-down. You can choose from a lot more, so I should say what I'm doing. When in the drop-down here, if you do select another style, it comes up with a preset list of about 500 or so. There's thousands out there. And EndNote knows that. It has about 500 preset here. If the one that you want isn't in this 500 listing, you would just Google the citation style you want and EndNote, and EndNote will have it on its website, and you'll just have to download it from the website because there's only so many they can have preset for you. So they're in alphabetical order. I also pull this up to show you if you do want to use the AMA style, you'll have to go down to the J's, and because they refer to it as JAMA, Journal of American Medical Association style. So you'll want to select the very bottom of the J's and hit OK. And then it'll be as part of your dropdown. And that's how you would add really any other style that you want to have as one of your preset listings here. Um, so really save you a lot of time. If there are going to switch back to APA to show a few examples. If there are edits that you need to make to the bibliography or the in-text citation, it is very important that you do edit and manage citations here. So right next to insert citation, there is edit and manage citations. This is how you're going to want to edit any citation or either the in-text citation or the bibliography. Um, it's very important that you don't use keyboard strokes when trying to edit uh, the bibliography or the in-text citation because EndNote doesn't know what to do with that. It becomes very confused by what you're trying to tell it. So if I say, oh, I don't really want this one, I only meant to put in one citation and I just do backspace here, it's going to repopulate or it will delete the bibliography. Um, but it's becomes very undecisive as to what it wants to do. So you may not know what EndNote does if you just try and do keyboard deletion or edit it with the keyboard. EndNote doesn't know what to do with that. So if you need to edit, make sure you're clicking edit and manage citations. And let's say that same one here, you can do select it. And let's just say I was like, oh, I don't mean to do the in-text citation, but I do want it in the bibliography. You can do just that, show only in bibliography, and hit OK. And so there you go. It's deleted it from the in-text citation, but it's still my bibliography for later, for when I need it. And you can come back and do the exact same thing if needed. But again, don't try and just delete something. It'll probably just repopulate at another point in time, or it might delete that and something else. So again, EndNote doesn't know what to do when you try and just do keyboard deletion or some other kind of edit to it. If you're opening EndNote for the first time, or you're opening your Word document for the first time after setting up EndNote on your computer for the first time, it might be tuned to your EndNote Online account. And so if that happens, you'll want to go to Preferences and select Application here and select EndNote. Or if you want to work out of your EndNote Online account, you can do so that way. Maybe you're working remotely and you don't have the main computer that you use EndNote on. You can do EndNote Online here. But other than that, I think that is most of what you all need to know. My advice moving forward is please go ahead and set up your EndNote settings so that you have the find full text with the two URLs that we provided. And if you need that again, if you go to Kornhauser's homepage here, the Kornhauser Health Sciences Library, if you're brand new to Kornhauser itself, I just tell people to Google Kornhauser Library. It'll be the first one that comes up. You want to go to Help and Services here and select EndNote Training. And this has pretty much what you'll need for our takeaways today. So how to download EndNote and the find full text. So please do that homework today. Please set up your EndNote Online account today before you forget to do so. And if you ever need help, I am more than happy to help you. Email is the best way to reach me. I'm not always in my office, but myself or any of the other librarians are happy to help with any EndNote issues you have. If it is, 8 o'clock on a Friday night and I'm not available, EndNote does have its own tech support hotline that you can call. So let me pull that up for you. So if you just Google EndNote contact or EndNote tech support, so right here, contact is what you want to select. EndNote does have a phone number you can call and speak to a live person right here. They're 24 hours Monday through Friday, and they're great. I've called them a number of times over the years myself to help fix issues. If I'm not able to solve your issue, they certainly will be. They're certainly able to help because, they work for EndNote. And they're available, as I said, 24 hours Monday through Friday. Now, if you're working on a paper and it's 11 o'clock on a Sunday night and your paper is due on Monday and I'm not available and then no tech support isn't available, I really suggest looking at just honestly kind of Googling your problem. Um, Poking around. EndNote is widely used in a lot of academic and health and science circles, and people are very helpful about troubleshooting. EndNote has its own web forum on troubleshooting. EndNote and plenty of other institutions as well also have tutorials on how to use EndNote on YouTube and such. So hopefully you'll be able to find the answer to your problem with that. Um, and if you have individual questions that you would like to ask, I'll hang on for about another 10 minutes to help out with people. If you would like a recording of today's session, or you need me to verify that you were here for a class to your professor or what have you, please email me and I will uh, get you that verification or the recording. I don't like to spam people if they don't want emails. So if you do want the recording, still email me and I will get that to you when it's available in the next couple days here. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll stay on for further questions if anyone has them. Thank you so much.